Hi guys. So I wanted to share some insights around how the market's shifting and I suppose give a bit of an update on the things that we're seeing, the trends that are happening, and I suppose give a bit of a view, some tips in terms of how you could potentially stand out in the crowd, given I guess there's a lot of people unfortunately in the position of needing to look for new work at the moment. So I'm going to start from the top in regards to what we're seeing, and to be quite frank, it sucks right now, and it's not through anybody's fault. It's ultimately a lot of uncertainty and a lot of change going on, a lot of businesses needing to adapt, taking stock, and unfortunately obviously a lot of people on furlough that are ultimately be driving a lot of business action right now. So a lot of the businesses that we deal with have pushed the pause button, understandably so. So what does that mean? Well, the reality is, in comparison to previous years, we're running at about 5 to 10% of the vacancy volumes that would normally be available in the market. What we are seeing is a lot of firms out there that are hiring are ultimately looking at how they fill those roles themselves. And rightly so. I mean, a lot of firms invested in internal talent acquisition teams in recent years, and they provide good value for those businesses. But there's a few things that I suppose from these trends that I wanted to share and hopefully give you some insights around how to, in particular, help you stand out in the crowd if you are looking for a new job. And to start from the top, some of the trends I've seen over the last few weeks is a significant uplift in the number of applicants going forward to different roles. Just keeping a track on LinkedIn and looking at a variety of different vacancies for the area I cover, they've sort of stepped up from typically up to around 100 applicants per job, going into some over 1,200, and that's within a week of the jobs going live. Now I can imagine that could be really disheartening if you're looking yourself and you see that sort of volume of applicants going in. How do you stand out within that crowd? Now, this isn't just something that I pulled together myself. Ultimately, I'm part of a number of different recruitment platforms, Recruiting in Lockdown, Recruitment Gym, etc. And they talk about very similar metrics. Between 90 to 95% of all applications tend to end in immediate decline on the basis of it just not being the right fit for the job. Now, this happens on a number of different reasons. Ultimately, there's some people that are just applying to every job. There are some people where there's a fit for a number of keywords and key criteria, so they click apply without reading too deeply into what the job needs. And I'll be candid, a lot of the time the adverts I read online are badly written, so don't blame people for trying and seeing what happens. And sometimes there is a bit of latitude in the jobs, and sometimes it's right to apply to give it a try and see what happens there. And there's some bits with how the job boards promote vacancies that leads to I guess a degree of confusion. And to give you an example, when I hire into CRM roles, I often talk about customer engagement and customer strategy in the job description. Those keywords tend to rank quite highly when people are working in customer services are looking for new jobs. So the boards promote those vacancies to individuals with that background, and they apply to the vacancy without realizing it's a marketing brief, so it doesn't really fit their experience. Now, similar things happen in different territories, and so ultimately that's why you tend to get a high rate of decline. So when you see those sort of high numbers, don't be put off and don't think there's no point in trying. But if you do want to help yourself stand out, a couple of other things I would point out. Right now there's a lot of jobs which are old and going around the market a few times that actually aren't live. The job boards are reposting them, and often the end brand or end business, and I've certainly experienced this myself, aren't even aware that the job boards are reposting them. We've taken them down, so the fact that they're still there surprises us. We can only draw assumptions as to why the job boards might be wanting to do this, whether it's to improve search ranking or something like that. I don't know, but ultimately I get it's really quite frustrating. So the first tip I would point out to anybody is check the brief is still live. If it's an M brand hiring, go to the talent acquisition person that's hiring on the role, ask the question. Be sure that you're not wasting your time with the application. The second thing, if there isn't a talent acquisition person there, then think like a recruiter. Try and work out who the hiring manager might be and drop them a note just to double check and see what the story is. Once you know it's a live brief, either reply, or if you've got the conversation started with the line manager, why not go there? At the end of the day, when you see a high volume of applicants come in and just explaining applicant tracking systems that you are uploading your details to, a lot of these will keyword analyze your CV, and it's basically as dumb as that. It looks for the keywords and says, do these match the brief? And if it does, it prioritizes your application. If it doesn't, it pushes you down the rank. If there happen to be a high volume of applicants and some people have keyworded their CV, they'll go up the rank. If you haven't done so, you go down the rank. So be sure that you are optimizing if you're going to go through the applicant tracking system routes. Alternatively, if you are proactive and going to the line manager to open a conversation, why not see if you can just start and stop there? Going through the applicant tracking portal piece inevitably will be slower at this time, especially as so many workforces are working from home, like myself. Getting in touch with the relevant people and getting stuff pushed through, especially when people are balancing challenges with dealing with family and homeschooling and trying to deliver to their jobs at the same time. It's really difficult to prioritize the recruitment piece, even when it is a really high priority vacancy that needs to be dealt with. So give a little patience on that, but ultimately you got to be able to sell yourself. There's a phrase we use in recruitment that is people by people. So your CV is meant to sell you, but if you can sell yourself by having that proactive attitude about engaging with the recruiter, engaging with the line manager, it's going to help you stand out. So I would absolutely recommend doing that. A couple of websites I promote to people to have a look at for jobs that the job sites seem to be doing the right thing. One's called Otta, OTTA, and the other one is called stillhiring.io. Still Hiring was actually a much more recent job site built off the back of this pandemic. Both those websites are making sure the vacancies that go live on their things are COVID-19 approved. They will appoint during this pandemic. So if you haven't checked them out, then definitely go and have a look at those. The other thing, if you see agency recruitment stuff, don't be afraid just to ping a shot over to the recruiter, double check it's a live brief. If you're not sure, question them on it. Ask about the client, ask about the motivations, the background they need, what sort of briefing have they had. Try and get some quality information that doesn't sound like they're reading off a job description. Some background context around the business, how long have they worked with them, what history have they had placing with that business. Try and just get a bit of information to make sure that it is a genuine brief and it is a genuine role that will also genuinely hire at this time as well. Unfortunately, there are fake ads out there for recruitment agencies to see the opportunity to build databases too, so do make sure that you are quizzing on the agency stuff. Anything that my agency puts out, Blue Pelican, is a live brief. We are fully checking every client that we put the vacancies out for and making sure that our website is kept up to date so that that is correct. It is a much smaller volume of roles we're working on because of that. But we're trying hard to get the news out to people and share good news stories about where we're seeing trends and opportunities. And on that note, if there's something I haven't covered here, or there's something you want me to sort of give you some insight around, put a note down below and I'll try and put something together for this to help out and share the knowledge and share the information. We're speaking to clients all the time and getting market news and market information, and if we can share that and that's going to help you in your job search, then be glad to do so however we can help at this time. Okay? Thanks very much and stay safe.